I've got something a little bit different for you today. This right here on the dyno is the Malo 5. They call it a motorcycle. I don't know if I want to call it a motorcycle. I mean, it doesn't have pedals and it has 2 wheels, so I guess it's a motorcycle. But then I also have, I'm gonna have to figure out how to pronounce this name before I make the full review. It's the Cy Crown or the CYC Crown. It's definitely the CYC Hunter. It says that right there. But this is a dual battery, full suspension e-bike. Next to it, I have the Big New, and next to that, I have the Velotric Summit. Now, all 4 of these bikes are completely different and appear to be completely unrelated. And the truth is, they are, other than the fact that I need to do dyno runs on all 4 of these, and I need to do bike reviews on all 4 of these. Now the weather outside has been cold, it's been rainy, and it's prevented me from doing proper riding tests on these bikes, at least yet. I'm gonna do that very soon. So what I decided to do is, let's go ahead and do the dyno runs on all 4 of these bikes, and then of course you can watch out for the full video ride reviews to come out very, very soon. So first up on the dyno is gonna be definitely the most powerful option. The Malo 5 says those are 4,000 watt motors each. That's right, there's 2 of them. This thing has the capability, possibly, of having 8,000 watts. They say this little tiny thing goes 55 miles an hour. If that's true, haven't confirmed that yet. That is scary. I may not have confirmed the top speed, but I can tell you it's fast. So as always, got our dyno ready to go. We've got our horsepower, our torque, and our speed. I have a feeling this thing is gonna be very torquey. I'm only running, of course, the rear motor right now, but the front and rear motors, thankfully you can select between them at any time, and they're using exactly the same controller. So the power should be identical between both. Thankfully, this rear tire is really fat, so traction shouldn't be a problem. We have Eco Pro, that's one mode, Eco Pro, Comfort, and Sport. So this should be max power, single motor right now. Here we go. Yeah, it's got some power. I didn't strap it down. Will you slowly brake for me? Just real slow. I didn't strap it down. So going, it was fine, but then when I was wanting, it was wanting to
rock back,
go backwards, and that was sketchy.
That's scary. That took it forever.
That was a
climb at the very end. Right?
Yeah, that was a weird torque curve.
What I've heard is what I heard. Not seeing anything. It was like up and then taper off a little bit, and then it kept.
So normally we see like max power torque right at the beginning, and the wattage like was slowly climbing throughout the speed, which was weird. Apparently I didn't hit the start button. I gotta do it again. Let's strap it down this time. It was reading like 85 miles an hour.
Really?
It's not gonna go that fast, but the motor has the RPM. Yeah, just eases power on. 1,000 watts. 2,000 watts. Will it go to 90? It spins that wheel up to 90 miles an hour. That's, you know, for such a tiny wheel, that thing's got some serious RPM.
Yeah.
So 55 miles an hour may not be so crazy.
Yeah.
It might take you a while to get there. And the interesting thing is, usually these things overestimate how fast they're actually going. If anything, this one is actually under just a hair. At like 55, it's off by like maybe 1 miles an hour, but it's actually going like 56. When you get up towards the top end, then it's off by like a couple, but it's really close to actual speed. I gotta look at the chart here because I don't know if I believe that or not. Oh, there was a weird spike right here. So I have to interpret the numbers a little. I can't go based on what it said because it wasn't right. So torque was 36 pound-feet, which is way less than I thought it was gonna be. But when you put the two wheels together, you got 72 pound-feet, which is still a lot more than the LMX 64 torque lot. Wattage was lower than I thought it was gonna be. So I got like 2,830. Oh, there's 2,880. So that's still pretty powerful.
Yeah.
But it's not 4,000 watts each. Maybe the motors are capable of that, but they're not actually turned up that high. I would have probably chose a motor that had a different kilovolt rating or a different number of turns, so it had more torque and less speed. You'd get better performance out of it. But they're such small wheels, I think they were like, oh, we want it to go fast, so let's go with a really low turn count. That's gonna give it super high top speed, but the RPMs are ridiculous. This is definitely going up with the motorcycle stuff. So I guess I'm a little torn on where to put this because it technically has more wattage than the Iahora Knight as well as the HMP Lightning, but torque-wise, it has significantly less, 72 pound-feet versus 120, 125. So even though the wattage is a little higher than those two, I'm gonna put it below because it does not have as much torque. The Molo 5 may not have as much torque as I was expecting, but it definitely has way more top-end capability. So 55 miles an hour might not be out of the question, maybe faster, I don't know. You'll find out in the full review of that bike coming soon. So next up for the dyno, we have the CYC Hunter. This is a dual battery, full suspension, very affordable bike. Let's see what it has for power. Did not forget to start the dyno run this time. All right, we got 1,030 watts and 28.09 pound-feet of torque. I've got a lot of bikes sitting right in that same power range. Let's see where it fits in. Our list of bikes over 1,000 watts is growing. Under 1,000 watts is growing, but not as fast. So it looks like it's gonna be towards the bottom of the 1,000 watt list, right about here, just above the G-Force RS, another 20-inch fat tire bike. This is a 26. That's either 27.5 or maybe a 29. So this is definitely a good comparable for it. Just a little bit more power than the RS was. Again, full video review coming on the CYC Hunter in the very near future. Might be the next one up. Let's go ahead and throw on the Velotric Summit. They're a little more tipsy when they don't have fat tires. That's right, I'll fix that in a moment. I will just point out that the Summit has a really nice paint job, just awesome color scheme. I think that's one of the best things about the bike. Also, it's just a very traditional looking bike. I like it. We'll see how much I like it when I actually ride it, which I haven't done yet, but I will soon. Power is all the way up to 5. We have a thumb throttle, which is nice. Okay, let's run it up. That ran up nice and quick, right up to the Class 2 20 mile an hour limit, which is kind of what I was hoping for with the lighter weight wheels on this, the more mountain bike-like geometry and setup. And there we go, not bad at all actually, better than I was expecting. It was so smooth and quiet. That was really nice. 1,316 watts, that's really good. 33.26 pound-feet of torque, also really good. This is a pretty powerful setup for a bike that is Like I said, something that looks like a bike, rides like a bike. I'm excited to try this one out. Unlike some of the other bikes I'm showing you today, Velotric is actually a company we are a dealer for. So this is a bike you can order from us. And this particular bike, I'm gonna leave here in the shop. So if you wanna come test ride it, you can do that right now. Let's see where this 750 watt bike goes. We're gonna have to make a little bit of room here. We're bumping a lot of stuff down. So here's the Area 13 Blackbird step through with the fat tires. Here's the Blackbird mountain bike. Now this is really interesting because I've already noticed myself that these are very similar bikes. The overall price, specifications, they're both 27.5-inch wheels. They're both under $2,000, both rear hub motors. And look at the power. This one we had 1.29 kilowatts. This one we have 1,316 watts. We're basically within 20, 30 watts, very comparable numbers. And then torque is very similar. We had slightly more torque on the Blackbird, slightly less on the Summit, but those numbers are so close, they will probably be indistinguishable actually on a ride. This really could go right below, right above. They're gonna perform about the same, I think. If you're looking for a narrower tire, more traditional mountain bike or commuter bike setup, you might wanna take a look at this one. Just like the others, I am still gonna have a full video review coming out on this very soon. These are 5 inches wide. Now I said the paint job on the Summit was really nice, and it is. But if I had to pick one paint job in the shop that was my favorite, surprisingly, it goes to the Big New. This has this color shift paint between blue and purple that just looks really, really cool in person. I hope it's coming through on camera because they did a really nice job. Overall, this bike has probably been one of the most surprising bikes I've ever been sent because in pictures, honestly, the pictures just didn't do it justice. It looked okay. The styling was kind of, I don't know if I'll even like this thing, but opening it up, I was like, this paint actually looked really nice. And then riding it, because I've done a little test ride on it, I was equally as impressed by the power and the speed and the comfort. So I've still got to do a full breakdown on this thing, but my first impressions have been really good and I'm expecting some good numbers on the dyno today. So laid back. There we go. That looked pretty good. I'm also reminded when I sit on this how comfortable this seat is. I will point out that the speedometer was a couple miles an hour fast, around 40. So whatever I'm getting in the actual video later, just know that the speed's gonna be off just a hair, but it wasn't too bad. This is probably gonna be the surprise bike for this whole video, I think, because it has way more power than I was expecting. 51.56 pound-feet. I am going to check that on the chart just to make sure that's right, because that seems like such a big number. And then 2,032 watts is also a lot. I didn't write that very well, but you get the idea. Let's take a look at here. Yeah, that's a clean run. That chart looks nice. There it is. 51.56 pound-feet, 2,032 watts. That's gonna knock down quite a few things on the board. We really gotta make some room here. Yadea Trooper, Anioki Pro Max. Mooncool was a 2-motor bike. Free Sky Swift Horse just had a single large motor. So it looks like we're going right here, easily beating all of the bikes underneath this torque-wise. 51 pound-feet is a lot. The only things that are above this are, let's just point them all out. We've got the Bike Tricks XD, custom mid-drive from Bike Tricks, the LMX 64, custom mid-drive from LMX, the Power Goat running a nearly 3,000 watt single rear hub motor. The Romeo Pro had 2 motors. The Pro Max all-wheel drive had 2 motors. The Motor Goat V3, I mean, that's running a 60 volt system, almost 3,000 watts. Of course, the Lyric Graffiti way up there with 8,000. But for a 48 volt bike, this is some serious power output. It's very impressive. Definitely gonna be putting out a nice long video about this guy and how it rides. If you wanna see more about any 4 of these bikes, the Big New, the Velo Trick, the CYC Hunter, or the crazy little Molo 5, definitely hit that subscribe button. Tomorrow is supposed to be sunny, so I'm gonna be out riding these things around and gathering up some more footage for you.